I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma back in 1998 when I was 12 years old. So I was a first year at secondary school. The first symptoms I had was pain in my knee, which I got after running cross country at school. And I thought to myself, okay, usually I don't mind PE, I haven't done cross country for a while. Am I just really unfit here? So I was a little bit embarrassed, thinking, do I really want to admit that I've got this much pain after that? But the pain didn't go away after a few days, and so me and my family, we went to the GP and got some deep heat gel, which is what the GP recommended. Now, for anyone who's used deep heat gel, they know it absolutely smells. And I had to use it morning, noon and night. And being a teenager, that is just not the smell that you want to go around with. But we persevered because it was doctor recommended, but it didn't really do anything for the pain. So after about a week, I went back and got painkillers this time, which again, they seemed to work to begin with. But when I wasn't on painkillers, I still had the pain. There was no swelling or redness, so it was just a case of my leg hurts here. But then what I started to notice was I'd be out of breath from not doing very much. So I'd be at school, I'd walk along a flight of stairs and have to stop and just kind of catch my breath, put my bag down, and then carry on. And that's what kind of worried me, more than the pain, because the pain wasn't significant, but I was just thinking, God, what's going on? Because I'd be completely exhausted, thinking, I've got pain after running cross country, and I'm exhausted from not doing very much. So I went back to the doctors again on my third visit, where we got the x-ray, and then things moved very quickly from there, where I had a biopsy and I got told I've got osteosarcoma. So I had 3 sets of chemo, surgery, and 3 more sets of chemo. 6 months after that, I was still using one crutch to walk. And what hadn't been noticed was the fact my prosthesis hadn't been fitted in correctly. So we went to a family wedding, and they had waxed the floors. I had my hair growing back at that point, and had made an effort to look nice, so I wore some sandals, and naturally with the waxed floor I went flying. And then I had another x-ray. I had to have the surgery again, but this time, after the 6 weeks of healing, I could walk without my crutches for the first time. So the next couple of years went past, and the difficult thing is when you've had your diagnosis and you've lost your hair and you're having surgery, cancer's so obvious. But after that, you've still got these invisible scars, and you're starting to look more normal, and you're still very young, but I still had issues that were going on. I can't run. I've got a deformed leg. I've got the scar and the prosthesis. So I had all these kind of things going on in my head, and the natural questions that you'll get with cancer, like why me? Why has this happened? And all of that came out in my final year of uni. In the final year of uni is when you're starting to think about your future and about work and things. And for me, I'll need to have surgery in the future because metal doesn't last forever. And so I had this massive panic, thinking, God, what's going on? What has happened? I think finally things caught up with me. And so I had to kind of speak up at that point instead of hiding that away. And I saw a counsellor. And that's one of those things that there's a lot of stigma about, kind of admitting that you need help. But I just absolutely loved it. Having an hour a fortnight to just talk about me, to have someone completely unjudgmental tell me what I'm feeling is fine, it was brilliant. I think, people should do that anyway. So these past couple of years, I've just been raising awareness for bone cancer, because along my journey I've met loads of people who've gone through similar experiences, people who've had very different stories, but people who've had the general kind of symptoms and early on diagnosis seems to be quite similar across the board. This year's been a big year for me. I worked full time and I completed my master's in psychology. I completed one of my lifelong ambitions to trek along the Great Wall of China. And at the end of September, I completed my first nighttime walking marathon. So who knows what's going to happen next year. I'm thinking maybe Tony's challenge. But yeah, so that's my personal experience with osteosarcoma.